also gathering money and all the other things that he could, so that he would help other people who wanted a lot of needs. Sometimes he had a prayer to the God, told him that what would become when he was gone, and what would become of those monasteries that he had built, what would become for those people that became nuns. And he also told the Lord that ever since he became a monk, he didn't eat a lot, he didn't drink a lot, he didn't enjoy anything else, or slept a lot, and asked the Lord what would do if he died, what would happen of all those things if he died. And the Lord told him that he is being proud of what he had done, and he wouldn't do that, and because everything is upon the Lord's hand, and he shouldn't be so worried about it. So he told him to ask for an apology, and the saint at the same time fell into the ground and asked for his forgiveness. And as he was praying, he saw two angels coming towards him. One was younger and the other was older. One of the angels told him that he is the Lord, the Jesus Christ, Son of God, and he came to talk to Pahomios. He told him not to be afraid, but to have courage to himself, because nothing of what he had done would never go to waste, that nothing would be small, or that his monks would never have anything less that they had now, and they would have teachers, and would, as long as they be under his own example and do as he would order. And the elders would go to a dry place, so that to be away from the others and become better in the spiritual life himself. And he also told him that whatever happens, the Lord would never abandon his monks. The saint became silent. He didn't know what to say, and he was very he loved him and respect the Lord a lot, because the Lord told him that he would never abandon his monks. One of the days, one of the biggest and the oldest man, monk, came to Saint Pahomios to know him. He told him that there are no kings who are pagans that pray for the idols, because Saint Constantine had given to everyone the Christianism. So he told him, what made you seek and ask for the martyrdom? And he told him to stay according to the Lord's commandments, and to seek whatever the Lord wants, and seek for the kingdom of the heavens. That what Pahomios told the other monk, but he didn't stop saying, and said again to Pahomios, pray, brother, and guard yourself, because the devil is going to play a trick on you, and until you give your life to the God and have a martyrdom, you will renounce God, and you don't want to be with Him, and you lose yourself. After 2 days, the saint sent two of his monks to the city, so that they would sell some of their things that they made. And when they reached the desert, he see some people. He saw that some people there tied his hands and told him they put him on an animal, and take him around, and making he wanted to make a sacrifice of him, and send him to the devil and to the idols. One of the monks was very afraid, and he did what they told him, so that he wouldn't lose his life. And he also ate meat, and he lost his faith to the Lord. After that, he went back to the saint, and he was crying, and told him that the divine grace had left him, and that he had to repent very much for what he had done. He told him that you were afraid of the death, and that's why you inherited the internal hell. So what would you do now to fix what you have done? The monk said that I cannot raise my hands and my eyes towards the Lord, because I have lost every hope of my salvation. The saint told him not to be afraid, and not to despair himself, and told him that if he wanted he told him that I don't want to lose my faith, I don't want to lose my soul. Please help me. I will obey to you, Father, and do as you said, so that I won't lose my soul. Then the saint shut him in a cell, and told him to be quiet and not to talk to anyone, to eat every 2 days only dry bread and water, to stay awake praying to the Lord as much as he could do, and meet two of his masters every two a day, and never stop crying. The brother did as the saint said, and he was praying all the time, and he was only eating twice a day and crying. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest miracles of the saint, when the angel himself came from the Lord and gave him the angelic gown and gave it to Saint Pahomios himself. Now, let's finish about Saint Pahomios, telling about his honorable sleeping, because of all he had done, of all the miracles he had done, they wouldn't last, or not even 1,000 pieces of paper, so that we can write what Saint Pahomios had done. They were fasting, they were celebrating the holy Easter, and from God the monks had a very peculiar sickness, and 100 and more of those of the monks were becoming ill, and the fever was always destroying them, but Saint Pahomios would never let him alone, but always was there and helping his children, his monks, and he became so sick. He's so sick that his eyes were red, and the Lord came and took his soul. And Saint Theodoros, who was there and helping the saint, understood that because his body became so thin that he wouldn't say that his heart was beating or his eyes were open. And so he gathered all the other people, all the other monks, and told him that the Lord has taken their father, and they had to understand that, and not to be feared about that, and not to cry, because Lord would never abandon them and give somebody else to guide them. That was not true, though, because all the monks not only cried about their father, but they were very, very sad about it, but knew in their hearts that the Lord was always going to be with them, and he was going to guide them with another beautiful and good Lord to help them, a good monk to help them find the way to the heavens.